Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Call Our Crimes a Work of Art. This will be Part 17, Chapters 36 through 38. Chapter 36. Izuku looks around the room in the abandoned warehouse they decided to set up in this time. It's perfect. High ceilings on each floor, sturdy and big. Izuku's helping Monoma position the giant pieces of mirror around the area. While Iwase welds the items Momo and Hatsume are making for him in the spots Izuku wants them. He honestly wonders if he's going too far. Someone will definitely be leaving this warehouse with at least one person demanding they seek therapy. The other members of his team are out causing general mayhem, which is good. Hopefully they can pick off a few more heroes. He is confident that their part of the plan will go off without a hitch, but that doesn't mean he would mind there being a few less people on the opposing team. Everything needs to run like clockwork if he wants them to win. Knows you might even have to add another objective after this. It's honestly surprising that it wasn't already up there. After all, it's honestly the only way to really win. Izuku shakes his head and positions the next mirror while Iwase rushes over to weld it in place. That goes back to securing the speaker. Team Digger has their own job to do. He just heard back from Shoto that he took out Tokiyami, and Kamakiri he thinks is the one b-boy Shoto didn't know the name of. Honestly, he might want to talk to Kirishima about compatibility. Aoyama and Tokiyami might be friends, but they absolutely can't fight together. Shoto barely had to do anything. Aoyama took out Dark Shadow, and then Shoto was able to shoot them. But Izuku is not going to complain. He was worried about leaving those two in. Both of them can take on multiple opponents at one time. Not good for what he has planned for tomorrow. He sighs and passes along the news of the 3 new deaths over the comms. There's only one more sticky bit to their plan. Izuku is kinda hoping someone will get lucky and kill one other hero. Heck, his plan can even withstand Ida, but this person makes the best plan hard. They've taken out most of the restraining and capture heroes. Otherwise, they have no way to keep enough of them occupied to prevent them from escaping. Boss, you seem worried. Who do you need us to take out? Monoma says. Bondo. His quirk worries me. He'd be too useful at restraining us. Then why not use him as the cue for Plan Haunted House? That could help, Izuku says, and they make their way towards the back of the warehouse. He goes through the plan for tomorrow in his head, revising it as he needs to. Members of his team come and go from the room as they work on last-minute preparations. He sets up the turrets he wanted to put up. Then he sets up the defense mechanisms. He has to be careful about how they handle this particular operation. After all, they'll be dealing with the one person who won't underestimate them. He is startled out of his thoughts when he hears from his comm that Ida and Bondo were taken out. He revises his plan again. Looks like they'll need a new target to kick things off. Oh well, at least the clip of Ida getting stuck in Bondo's glue will be funny. That's a good enough number of students out of the game. That should be enough for their plans. Rogue here. All members back to base. We have a big day tomorrow. Mimic, we are adjusting the plan to Haunted House, so give Hercules Mulligan her orders, then get back here. Monoma had left to do some last-minute double checks for him, because he could carry all the quirks he'd need with him, instead of having to send a bigger team to do last checks. He hopes he's done enough to finish this. He's put too much into winning this. For the friend his teachers lost. For Sir Night-Eye, who All Might swears would be impressed. For his team. For himself. Chapter 37. Kirishima. Kirishima stares down at the crowd gathered on the street below his agency. He's lost so many good teammates during the simulation. Should he talk to Fat Gum about some extra help at his work study? Would the pro actually help him? How can he help when Kirishima doesn't even know where he went wrong? He sighs and steps back from the window. Half his team is sick with a bug, according to Recovery Girl. The other half are so tired they can barely fight, and it's like every time one of them steps outside, they lose someone. They use Bondo's quirk to trap Ida, so they could assassinate both of them. Who really thinks of doing something like that? He sighs. He can't think like that. Midoriya is playing his role. They all need to remember that this is a simulation. They have jobs to do. It's still the same Midoriya. He goes to his room and sits down to work on tomorrow's patrol schedule. Bakugo won't be happy, but with the hostility right now, Kirishima just can't justify sending him out to do something. Someone could attack him, or Midoriya could engineer another situation involving him. He just can't take that risk. Bakugo's the only one who can go toe-to-toe with Midoriya and Todoroki. They can't lose him to anything until those two are taken care of. Who the heck did Midoriya even recruit? Their costumes are so indistinguishable that the few times they did see someone, they didn't know who they were looking at until they used a quirk. But even then, if he has Monoma, there's no way to know for sure that the person is in fact the person who has that quirk. It makes breaking up into teams incredibly hard. And he still has to talk to the press before dinner to make sure that the citizens understand what's happening. Even Cementos seems a little at a loss. He's helping as best he can, offering ideas on what to do in certain situations, but it's clear he doesn't even know how to handle something on this scale. Did Midoriya even recruit teachers? Kirishima sighs and flips through his binder. It's pretty small, just information on who can be recruited, time limits, and if they capture or kill the leader, then it moves on to second-in-command. They don't even know who the second-in-command is. How are they supposed to target them? Well, they can guess. He'd asked Ida, Uraraka, and Sue who they thought he would appoint. They had all said Todoroki, except Sue had pointed out that while Todoroki is his friend and a skilled fighter, he doesn't have the leadership skills while someone like Momo does. So even if they take out Midoriya, they still have to take out one of the recommendation students. It's all just one big headache. He sighs and closes the binder. All they have to do is keep them from escaping tomorrow, since Midoriya likely won't be able to take them all out, and neither will they. It'll just have to be a war of bought time. He sighs and goes to get his team from training. He wants Uraraka with him. She's good at friendly and sweet. Cementos had said having someone like her with him when he does the news announcement will be helpful. Izuku. Izuku takes a breath as he finally makes it back into base. Everything is set up. He talks to his team, minus his two teachers, double and triple checks that they know their locations and their codes. Checks that they know their teams. Paladin with him, and possibly Shadow Monk at location B. Bard, Mimic, and Conjuration at location C. And everyone else at location A with Artificer on the roof. With that settled, he tells them all to clean up because they're going to make dinner tonight as a team, seeing as it's their last night. Then he goes to find his teachers. There's one last thing he wants to talk to them about. Chapter 38. Shota isn't expecting the knock that comes on his door, but he should be. He opens it to find Midoriya standing there. Rogue, what can we do for you? I'm not Rogue right now. Is Mike-sensei here? He asks. He's napping. He's been trying to catch up on as much sleep as he can before the simulation is over and he goes back to 3 jobs. I'm awake. Sorry, Sensei. Don't worry about it, kid. What's wrong? Hizashi says. I want you at location C with Cementos. His patrol will take him away from location A, but he can still get there to help. So I want you to take some backup and intercept him. But shouldn't a heavy hitter go to location A? I am not going to ask you to attack students, nor am I going to ask you to be there when Operation London Bridge happens. I'm not going to trigger traumatic memories just to win a simulation, Midoriya says. Thanks, Hizashi says softly. Why send him with backup? Shota asks. In case any students go to help Cementos. Like I said, I am not going to make him fight students, Midoriya says. And me? Shota asks. Are you okay going to location B? I understand if you want to stay with Mike. I'm okay with going to location B. Okay, the 2 of you will also be on standby for support, for location B or C. Neither of you are going to go to location A. If I give the order, prepare to get Kendo out of the city so we can win unquestioningly. Anything else we need to know? Mr. Aizawa, tomorrow at location B and A when I'm talking, I'm going to say a lot of things. Most of what I say is going to be coming from a bad place that never fully got closure. I'm going to talk about a lot of things that might sound worrying, and I won't lie and say it's only acting, but I promise I'm no longer in that place, Midoriya says. Okay, but don't push yourself too far. I'm right here if you need to be pulled back. We both are, and those kids out there too, Mike says. Thank you, senseis, he says and turns to head off down the hall but then stops. Oh, team dinner is in a little bit. We're all going to work on it together, so hurry up, Midoriya says. Midoriya, wait, Shota says and kneels to be head height with the boy. Yes, Mr. Aizawa? You should be proud of the work you've done here. I know you've been feeling bad about all this. I think it would be impossible not to. Thanks, Mr. Aizawa. I'm focusing on the fact that this will prepare them for real villains in the future. Shota nods and gives him a pat on the back. We're going to wash our hands and then we'll be down to work on dinner. All right, see you both there, the green boy says and takes off. Washing their hands takes mere moments and then they head down to work on dinner, which it turns out to be all their favorite foods. Shota's not even sure how he figured out all their favorite foods. Honestly, he shouldn't bother to ask. Midoriya's really good at information gathering, like really good. He'll have to work with him on it, to hone his talents. Now that he sees Midoriya, he's never going back to not seeing him. They make quick work of the dinners and get the table set up and sit around it. Before they eat, Midoriya stands and taps his glass. Before we begin, I want to thank all of you for joining me in this. You could have joined the hero team. If you had, I don't think I could have done half of what I came up with. And some of you gave your time and energy despite not being in the hero course, whether by choice or not. And I want to thank you all for it, Midoriya says and sits down. Kendo stands. And thank you, Midoriya, for letting us join, for reading the rules to the point that you knew you could ask students from other courses, and then using that information to benefit the team, for giving those of us with less obviously useful quirks a chance to fight and work and show what we can do, for showcasing skills no one else knows about, for actually recruiting us and not just waiting for us to join you. Thank you for being our leader, Kendo says. Shota can hear the boy sniffle. And stop talking like we're going to stop talking to you after this. You're stuck with us now. Exactly. We're always going to be a team now, Kendo says. I still hate 1A, but you three aren't so bad, Monoma says. Shota rolls his eyes, but he's proud of these kids and what they've accomplished. They should be proud too. Dinner passes quickly after that. Morale is high and the kids are having fun, sharing their favorite foods with each other. Tomorrow is the last day. He hopes they manage to pull this off. The kids worked really hard for it. Before long, they're all retiring to bed. All right, listeners, this concludes Chapter 38 of Call Our Crimes a Work of Art. Chapter 39 will be up next. I hope you all are still enjoying this one, and as always, thank you so much for listening.